Hello. I'm actually still in France. Now, I made a video not very long ago about the 5 key tips I'd given myself for making the most of my holiday. But it was all a lie, because I actually had a few more things I wanted to think about. And here's the extra tips. These ones are my extra ideas, the ways to fill the dead time, to feel creative when perhaps you're feeling a bit tired or a bit holidayed out. So firstly, I love a holiday or a bit of travel to try something different. In the first video, I talked about packing minimally. And as well as packing minimally, thinking about what you're bringing. And for me, that includes doing something like bringing a small number of watercolour pencils, which is what I brought with me this time. Well, these are actually Inktense pencils. Now, playing with these different media lets you explore different ideas and lets you think about scenes in different ways. And it gives you a break as well. For me, if sometimes your hobby and your passion is literally your job, it can become a bit tiring. So just taking the pressure off and allowing yourself to do something different when you're on holiday can be really, really lovely. Now, whilst we're on sort of practical tips and ideas, a water brush. Now, that is something I hate using at home. Finally, I can get rid of this absolute trash. Goodbye. But it can be absolutely fabulous on holiday. Perhaps, for example, paired with using your watercolour pencils. Seriously? Okay. A water brush means you can stand in a corner, sit in a corner, and without having to put all your paint pots and things out around you, or your water pots, you can just create some very lovely art. So although it's not the best thing in the world, there are times where we can think about what we would find the easiest thing to use on holiday. And thinking about that lets us facilitate more sketching more easily. So instead of thinking, right, I only ever use my fountain pen, I have to use my fountain pen, have a think about whether maybe, just for this holiday, it'd be easier to bring a brush pen or a Fude pen or a couple of fine liners. Because you might just find you worry less about dropping your fountain pen, you worry less about losing it or it running out of ink, and so you can create more art. Okay, and as a very short third tip, bring a tiny stool, bring the smallest thing you can pack. I have a very tiny stool, which I can just about comfortably sit on or uncomfortably sit on, and it's a lifesaver. If you have some kind of seat with you for travel sketching, and what's achievable for different people will be dependent on our sort of flexibility, mobility, and all those things, but try some things out, because if you can bring a seat with you, it will open up so many possibilities beyond having to find a comfy seat in the right place. Now, let's get back to the creative ideas. So the next tip I've got is the idea of just going for it. Just do something in the moment. If you feel like sketching, sketch. Don't think you have to finish your sketch by any means, because if you always only sketch when you know you'll be able to finish it, when you know you have 3 hours and you'll be able to redo it 10 times, you'll never get anything done. In the last video, I talked about sketching small, and that's part of this. But sometimes even just sketching big and knowing that maybe you won't get it finished there, well, that's okay. Some views are ridiculously epic, but you don't have forever to sit there and complete them. So this is a ridiculously epic scene, for example. Loads and loads to get stuck into, and you could stay here for hours. Or, with the rain coming in, you could take the pressure off, do a quick outline, and plan to finish it at home, which is exactly what we're going to do. Now that leads me on to my next idea, which maybe will be controversial. But I think you can be travel sketching in your hotel, your Airbnb. You don't have to literally be sat in a Parisian street to be capturing the atmosphere of your holiday and your travels. Now, for me, that might mean sitting down, working from photos. It might mean spending a bit of time finishing from memory, one of those sketches which I wasn't sure if I'd be able to finish outside. Turns out it doesn't matter, because I can finish it inside and do it all from memory. And I still have that energy of being on plein air because that's where I started it. Now there's two little ones to come. I won't keep you forever. Now this is a bit of a silly one, but I kind of never start on the first couple of pages of my sketchbook. And people always ask me why. But it's because I don't want the pressure. This one has to be perfect, doesn't it? So instead, I sort of open it a random amount. There you go. There are my first sketches filling up the pages behind. Now these empty pages, there's 3 or 4 empty pages there. They could be a table of contents. They could be a big summary sketch. I could leave them blank and they don't ever need to be filled. I can do something abstract there. It doesn't matter. Not everything has to be perfectly in order. And just not painting and drawing on that first page suddenly takes the pressure off, at least for me. And finally, talking of taking the pressure off, have some days off. Maybe take the time to read a good book. So that's how it's done. Don't come in with a plan of sketching for 5 hours every day, unless you're very specifically on some sketching course you need to get your value for money, because that's exhausting and it's impractical if you're on a holiday or you're trying to have a holiday, and it's even more impractical if you're on a holiday with other people, and you probably won't find your creativity gets better. It's like the idea of leave them wanting more. You should always leave your brain wanting to do more. Now I mentioned this in the last video, but I should mention it here as well because it's really important. I'm actually here, not on holiday, but I'm here on a sketching extravaganza, checking out the local area, which is the Dordogne Valley. Amazing villages, towns, chateaux everywhere, and I'm going to be running some sketching workshops in 2026 in this region. And we have been hosted by Deb, wonderful artist, and Jan, who owns this gîte. This is like a bed and breakfast behind me. And she also has this beautiful barn where artists host workshops. So if you want to join me, or down below are all the details you need to either join me or get arranging your own thing as well. With that all said and done, let me know in the comments any of your favourite travel sketching tips and ideas. And I'll see you in the next one.